I've left it almost too late to be harvesting my lavender. And you know it's too late when you start to notice bees buzzing around your plants. And if you look very closely, you'll see the lavender buds start to bloom into little flowers. And when that happens, those flowers open up and release their fragrance into the air to draw in the pollinators. But if we want to use lavender in beauty products, in crafts, in cooking even, we need to pick it while it's in the bud. So today I'm going to show you how I harvest my lavender, and we're going to have a little chat about varieties to look for, how to grow it, how to propagate it, and some ideas and recipes for using lavender. Well, I'd say that this is the perfect bunch of lavender. And you can see from the end that it is about 3/4 of an inch to an inch in diameter. And I'm just going to bind it together using a rubber band. And this is one of my hair ties. And the reason that you would use one of these instead of string is that lavender, as it dries, will shrink in size, so the stems will get a bit smaller. And if you use string, the stems will fall out because you dry lavender upside down like this. Rubber bands will keep contracting and hold it all in place. Dried lavender has a shelf life of at least a year. So drying lavender can preserve the scent for longer, and then you can use it in crafts like sachets. You can decorate soap with it, use it in beauty products. You can use fresh lavender in some recipes. So I have a great recipe for lavender and honey cookies, but it doesn't actually last as long. So there still is a little bit of water content in it. So you do want to get it out for most things. So with these bunches, I'll be taking them home and hanging them in a place that's out of direct sunlight. And it will take 1 to 2 weeks for it to fully dry out. Sometimes a little bit longer if it isn't quite airy or warm enough. When it's fully dried, you'll know because you'll start to see some of the lavender buds start to fall down off of the stems. You can put your bunches into paper bags to stop that from happening, but you can also just dry it in the air like that. It looks quite lovely. And then when it's fully dried, you can just run your fingers over the stems and pull the buds off and then save them for later. There are many species of lavender. There's traditional English lavender, such as I've been cutting today. There's also the frilly-headed French and Spanish lavenders. There's Portuguese lavender. And then amongst all of those species, there are countless cultivars. And some of them produce more essential oils than others, including hybrids. So English lavender crossed with Portuguese lavender, which is Lavandula intermedia. Now, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but there's a few different types of lavender that you should look out for. So Munstead and Hidcote, which are more dwarf types. So this is Hidcote here. They're great for cut flowers. And if you wanted to make essential oil, the type that is the most highest in oils is called Grosso. And that one is actually a hybrid. And it takes something like 3 pounds of flowers to make 1 little bottle of essential oil. And you make that using a steam distillation method, which is not an easy thing or a beginner type craft. You do need a still to make it. However, you can infuse lavender buds into oil and you'll get a very lightly scented lavender oil that way as well. So the Hidcote that I have growing here, this is a dwarf type and it's been blooming since late May. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a haircut because the flowers are all spent and starting to dry up. And if I'm lucky, it might actually send up some more flower spikes. But if not, it will tidy it up and stop the wind from rocking the plant around too much. Much better, much tidier. Now, Lavender needs pruning twice a year, and the first time is about now, at least for this type of plant. And it's basically just to cut off the flower stems that have spent and aren't doing anyone any good. So the bees aren't on them, they don't look great in a windy location like mine that can rock the plant a little bit as well. And also cutting those stems off just tidies the plant up. And it can encourage a second flush of growth in some cases. So it'll be a little bit more spindly, it won't be as profuse, but if you're lucky, you can get some flowers out of it. Now, the second time of the year that you would be pruning is in early spring, and you would cut off the dead wood, and you would also follow the stems down to where you just see the very first green growth and cut just above that. And that will help to promote the growth of the plants and also to increase air circulation through and basically help to improve the health of your lavender plants. Let's talk about growing lavender. I get a lot of questions about that. Lavender is originally from the Mediterranean, so it likes warm climates, so wet winters and hot and dry summers. It prefers alkaline soil that needs to be free draining and even quite poor. It'll thrive in poor soil. This is what happens when you plant it in soil that is not alkaline and is a little bit wet. It gets a bit leggy. It hasn't really affected my plants too much. I mean, it is quite productive, but that legginess is a bit unsightly. So just be prepared for that if you do have acidic soil. Sometimes lavender doesn't thrive and you might wonder what you've done wrong. More often than not, it's because you've been caring for it too much, giving it too much water, too much nutrition, and not being neglectful enough. It actually thrives in neglect if you give it the right kind of location. There's a type of lavender for wherever you are, whatever growing zone you have, whatever type of garden you have. And my recommendation is to go and chat to someone at a local independent garden center, because the people that are in your area are going to know the types of lavender that do best in that particular location. These 3 lavender plants at the bottom of the wildlife patch are just a couple of years old, and they're propagated, which means that I took cuttings from a parent plant and encouraged them to form roots. And it's really very easy. I have a video sharing exactly what you need to do. And whether you're trying to create more plants to dot around the garden, or you want to create a lavender hedge, any reason to have more lavender plants, check out that technique, because who seriously doesn't like plants for free? I'm going home with 7 bunches of lavender today, and I'll be coming back tomorrow morning to cut even more. So late morning is the best time to be picking lavender. So it's after the dew has dried, but before the midday sun has had a chance to beat down and evaporate any of those volatile oils. Now, as far as ideas and recipes for lavender, you need to head over to my website. That's lovelygreens.com, and I have everything over there from cookies to skincare to handmade soap. And if you're interested in making handmade soap, I have some videos here and an entire playlist of skincare and soap recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time here on Lovely Greens. Bye for now.